This is it. The coronation, the consummation, maritally, right?
Yeah.
Of a live BYU postgame show from Locked On Big 12. Where were you when AJ Dybantsa dropped 43 points on Utah? This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. Drake Toll alongside Jake Hatch, Jake Edmonds. We got Tosh McIntosh. Is that your real name?
It is. Crazy enough, that is my real name on birth certificate and everything.
Wow. How'd you pull that off?
And well, the story gets crazier. I have a son named Matt.
Sweet.
Too.
Good
So
to
there's
hear
a
from you,
Matt
Tosh.
Matt.
Hey, BYU.
Hey, whoa.
Knocks off Utah 91-78 tonight. The question is, where were you the day that AJ Dybantsa scored 43 points on the Utah Utes in a victory for BYU? Good teams win, great teams cover. BYU did not need to for the Marriott Center to be rocking tonight. Thank you for making these shows, Locked On Big 12, Locked On Cougars, your first listen every single day. You two guys host a podcast as well, a very good podcast.
Thank you.
We do.
And the name of that podcast is, this is your promotion time.
Yeah, Loyal Cougars podcast. It was not named after Locked On Cougars, although sometimes I say Locked On Cougars on the
Did you
show.
say the name of Jake's show on your show?
I accidentally
Loyal
put Jake's show.
Cougars.
He's
a little
done it
close,
a handful of times, actually. I've listened to it.
We're a weekly show on Mondays.
A weekly show on Mondays, the
We
Loyal
kill
Cougars
it.
podcast.
Yes.
Locked On Cougars, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making all of our shows your first listen every single day live from Chubby's University Mall in Orem following that 91-78 victory. Jake, you were at the postgame press conference.
was.
The rest of us were in attendance for this contest. I will start here. If you hit subscribe, we get to keep our jobs.
Yes.
I will then move to here. We're going to go over what we just witnessed from AJ Dybantsa. We'll get into the atmosphere from the game today, and we'll finish it up with a preview of Arizona on Monday, because that's the big hot button topic. We knew that BYU would likely win against Utah today. But I think about Coach Rose today, or Tom Holmoe,
Okay.
right? I think about
By the way, Tom Homo may be wandering around here a little bit. I heard
Tom?
he might be in the vicinity. So
We'll get him on.
surely,
keep
yeah.
an eye out.
We'll add that to the rundown. I think about the guys for the last 15 years, 2 decades. You know, 7 years ago? Oh, I did it. I did the 6-7 thing, didn't I? 6-7 years ago, for me, I was in high school. BYU on the national scale in independence was cute.
Yeah.
It's the way Paul Feinbaum talked about Indiana. It's this cute story, right? When BYU's good, it's cute. Like, Coach Rose fought through years of winning. He won basketball games, but America never looked at it. You know, like Tom Holmoe led an athletic department that won football games and basketball games, but America they wouldn't look at it. They didn't want to see it. They wouldn't watch it. It's that independent team that's doing cute things like UConn in football, right? When they win 11 games, 10 games a couple years ago, last year, this year, whatever it was. See, we don't know because it's independent UConn.
Fair. Yeah.
Tonight, ESPN, Fox, TNT, you name it. AJ Dybantsa's 43 points will be on the forefront of college athletics, and BYU will be on the forefront of college athletics because what Kevin Young and his team just did. Brian Santiago, his organization, his program, BYU just did. That's different, Jake. That's different.
No, on that to your point, that's exactly what you were looking for, because I don't know if you saw it, SportsCenter, their official Twitter account after the game, asked, is AJ Dybantsa the number one overall pick in the NBA draft? Kevin Young, I said that post-game press conference. He walks up. He said, without a doubt, he's the number one pick in the NBA draft. Kevin said right into a microphone. So, to your point, BYU's on a level that they've literally never been at before, and it's absolutely incredible to watch what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could watch that game and not think that. AJ's ability to draw fouls.
Yeah.
He went off on threes. If he's hitting threes like that, he's unguardable. And then his dunk to cap it off, like, screamed number one pick. And to Drake's point, BYU fans and that atmosphere has always been great.
Mm-hmm.
How awesome is it that we're finally getting the national spotlight and people are realizing, hey, this is a great place to play.
I'll say this too. This comes after a game where we thought BYU looked good for a stretch against Texas Tech, but they kind of choked.
Yeah.
Right? Towards the end.
30 good minutes, a horrible 10 minutes.
For them to respond the way they did, and specifically AJ, right? AJ had at least in his own standards, a down game against Texas
Kevin
Tech.
Young said it is his worst performance of the season.
Yeah, I mean, they went on their run. There was like
Yeah.
a 16-2 run in the fourth quarter. without AJ. AJ comes in along with some other guys. I think Boop came out and some other guys came out, but the run ended when AJ came in. And I think AJ would tell you that was not how he wanted to perform in a game like that. And so for him to come out and score 43, and not only that, but BYU just responded in a way that, you know, I think Texas Tech is an understandable loss. People are okay with that loss, but you didn't want BYU to lose the way they did after going up 9 and then giving up the lead. And so for them to respond the way they did against a Utah team that, you know, they lost to Kansas State, last week or earlier this week, but they're still Utah, right? They played BYU well in Salt Lake City. It's a team that is capable of putting up points on anybody, and especially against BYU, as they historically have done.
Yeah.
You know, surprisingly, you know, they play BYU better than they play anybody else, I feel like, in the country. For BYU to shut them down the way that they did in the second half was phenomenal.
I think if the Utah Utes just pictured BYU in every opponent they played, they're a 500 team in the Big 12 for sure. Like I was sitting sideline with Utah, and I think I said it to you and Jake. I said, if Utah plays like this every game, this is a good basketball team. They felt like a complete basketball team, outside, inside game. They're not going to overpower you. They don't have the total size package. But I mean, they're showing the replay on. I called it, didn't I? They're on all the national networks. They're going to show it on Fox right now.
Yeah. So, but to your point, Greg. We were in the postgame press conference, and Alex Jensen, you don't very often hear a coach say his team quit. That's exactly what Alex Jensen said. They were making threes. They shot nearly 60% for a long stretch of that, and that's what kept him in this game. And Kevin Young said it himself. He said there were about 3 threes that they gave up that were bad defensive plays. Said outside that, they were making shots. The issue with Utah right now is they don't have an interior presence. If they had that, they'd be far better than they are. They'd be in more games, and he wouldn't be using the term quit in a game like this.
Well, I think BYU broke them.
And I agree.
They were hitting us with their best body punches, with the right hooks, with the uppercuts. Everything was hitting. They were hitting everything, and we still managed to stay ahead. And they asked for it because they were chanting overrated to AJ. He saw and felt what the rivalry felt like last game.
Yeah, he poked the bear.
And then I also think he was sick last week. I mean, we know that. And so I just could feel this coming that, hey, AJ is going to have a game.
Yeah.
And he did. And I think he broke them.
It's very LeBron James of you, by the way. Tosh told me pregame. Tosh said, AJ's scoring 43 tonight. I feel it. I think it's coming.
Specifically 43.
He's given me more credit than I deserve, but I did predict AJ was going to go off tonight.
All right. Here's the thing. Matt Norlander from CBS Sports was here. I was talking to him post-game. Before this game, you had Wagler from Illinois go for 46. You had Kingston Flemings from Houston go for 42. Matt was saying if AJ were to go for 40, he thinks it'd be the first time that 3 freshmen were to go for 40 plus in a single day in college basketball history. So Matt, after the game, I walked right by him. I'm like, hey, you kind of called it. He's like, hey, I'm happy to be right.
Yeah. Incredibly cool what we saw from BYU basketball today. I want to talk about the atmosphere inside the Marriott Center and what it means for the Big 12 conference. Because one thing that's hard to understand for some fan bases in the Big 12, and this goes for Kansas State, who's been here. It goes for Baylor. It goes for those original 8 who've been here, is the addition of these new 8 Big 12 teams. Like here's what's crazy is we've got hundreds of people here at Chubby's that weren't Big 12 fans 5 years ago. You had no reason to be, right? For the fan bases that were in the middle of it, that thought this is our 10 teams, we play around robin, and Texas and Oklahoma, and then they leave, and you think, we're on the outskirts of college sports. We have to survive. That sounds dramatic, but there was a whole conference that died in the middle of that because they couldn't keep up. The Big 12 did, and a piece of why they did is what was in the Marriott Center today. That showcased what the Big 12 can be with an addition like BYU, who got on the last lifeboat. Like Memphis, they can't buy a lifeboat right now. You're struggling to FAU, USF, they can't buy a lifeboat right now. BYU got on the lifeboat to the Big 12, and it's helping save the Big 12 at the top because the BYU athletic department looks so good. Before we get to that atmosphere, wow. Look around you. Come on.
What's up, everybody? This is awesome.
The line's out the door here at Chubby's.
I know. This is great.
You can't hear anything, by
Who was
the
at
way.
the game? Who went to the game today?
Yeah, how
Raise
many
your
people
hands.
There we go.
Yep.
Okay.
We've got like some barn door situation, Chip and Joanna going on here, and like a swath of people that are trying to listen. They're listening on their phones out here because the speakers are like, there's so many, the sheer amount of people, you can barely hear us. And it's a testament to BYU fans, a testament to Cougar fans. That's what I want to brag on when we come back. But first, Jake, should we get paid?
Let's do it.
Let's get paid. Locked on Big 12. Oh, hey, it's us again, right back. Jake, today's show is sponsored by FanDuel.
Ah, yes, our good friends at FanDuel.
Yeah, you spend that. It's probably going to be FanDuel, right?
NFL playoffs, man. Let's go.
Yep, NFL playoffs on FanDuel are exactly where I like to go because they're super boost bonus things. You go in there and you're like, hey,
profit boost, man.
I could have won $10. Now I can win $20. That's the beauty of FanDuel.
Mm-hmm. Cash in every single playoff game day. Now, there's only a couple days left. You have the conference championships going on tomorrow. You got the Super Bowl upcoming. Take advantage of it. That profit boost is only available on game days. You got to cash in.
FanDuel.com, the FanDuel app, official sports betting partner of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm not sure if Jake and Tosh have gotten in with FanDuel yet, but we'll send them a good.
We'll get them.
We'll give them a good note for that. FanDuel.com, the FanDuel app. Download it today. That is FanDuel. I want to pitch it to you guys to talk the Marriott Center and what you saw today inside that arena. Because for me, it's my first time. And I've been across the Big 12, these basketball venues. I've seen Baylor when they were number one in the country with some really good atmospheres. But the mixture of not just students and like natural fan pop because AJ Dybantsa is dunking on your mom. The mixture of that with 3 students that nail half-court shots and three-pointers to win cars and thousands of dollars. Did you guys plan that for me? Was that for me?
No. I was sitting up in the rafters watching it from Media Row. I'm like, hold on. Kid just made it the Qualtrics $4,000 shot. Then we had the tuition giveaway one? Was it $1,000?
Yeah, $4,000 kid was like, what? Yeah. You get one shot for a half court.
And then Ken Garf gives away a car.
I think he was yelling in the camera, that was for Drake. That was for Drake.
Yeah.
For sure. As he's doing the upside down, he was saying this is for Drake.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. The level of fan engagement. And I'm going to go back because I get a lot of heat sometimes from, this guy loves BYU. Okay, they win. That's pretty easy.
That helps.
On the flip side of that, it's like, there were pieces of the football game where like, hey, maybe in a big momentum boost, we don't do fans. Please welcome our oldest fan in existence. Brought to you by the bank. Like, it's 4th down. They're supposed to be getting loud. Like, I mentioned how we could fix a couple of those things. I thought from a fan engagement standpoint, from that perspective, every school in the Big 12 can take notes.
I think you saw a piece of that when you came to the BYU Utah football game as well. There you saw a little bit of the fan experience. It's different in basketball. And I remember we're halfway through the second half. You and I were talking about the atmosphere, and I said, I'm not going to say this is Jimmer-esque in terms of like the entire Jimmer experience, but we had moments like this during Jimmer season where it was one player just igniting the entire crowd. It was electric for the last 10 minutes of that game. And it brought me back to when I was a student at BYU watching Jimmer play. Now obviously the student section was on the sideline, not the baseline, but it was electric. And that's what AJ did to the crowd today, in addition to the fan experience team that does a good, they do a great job of bringing fans to their feet, but AJ made that game electric for the fans.
And we've been selling that place out for a long time. 20,000 fan basketball arena. And it was against, though, teams like Pacific and Santa Clara. And St. Mary's was a huge game. And there was always talks of BYU fans. Can you even dream of if we were in the Big 12 for basketball? And we had Kansas coming in and Baylor coming in. And we
didn't Arizona on Monday night.
Consider Arizona joining that. So you mix the already fandom that we had that was just ready to explode with now the quality of the teams coming in. And it is a fun place that we're stoked to be in Big 12 basketball.
Well, and that's the thing about it is I was sitting next to some of the Utah reporters. A couple of them had never been to the Marriott Center before. And they're like, hey, what am I in for tonight? I'm like, you're in for a treat. And as AJ started to really erupt and the place started to get really raucous, one of them leaned over. He's like, okay, the Huntsman Center's nothing like this. And I'm like, it's nothing. The Huntsman Center used to be.
Talk that talk. Come on now.
It used to be a pretty good environment. But it no longer is that. And he said, this is absolutely awesome. And that's what AJ brings. Because to your point, Jake, my first year in media was working Jimmer Fred. I was working with Greg Rubel as an intern up at KSL. And I remember how electric those environments were. And there's that famous picture of Jimmer right on like in the media row with just the sea of people that had spilled onto the court celebrating that. It feels like we're kind of getting close to that level with what AJ's doing right now. And tonight, I think, is one of those moments that kind of takes you back 15 years.
So I got to say, one, we can't talk after the Utah game and me not take a couple shots.
Hey,
One,
please do.
There he goes.
a truth bomb is the Huntsman basketball arena atmosphere right now is worse than a varsity high school game.
Oh, it's bad.
And I mean that
Yeah,
sincerely. That's how bad it is. And so today, when that place was rocking, and then we had the 3-minute timeout, media, we hit turbulence. I leaned over to Jake and said, "Don't you think the Utah players are thinking, man, I wish we had this?"
Yeah.
And then I hear Drake lean over and say, "Hey, I've worked in this enough that I know those players are looking around and they're thinking." So we both had that epiphany at the same time. We've even had players transfer in this year that have mentioned part of the reason they transferred in is because they played here and they're like, this place is magical.
Yeah, I mean, we were close enough to see the players. They had come out of their huddle. They're kind of waiting for gameplay to start again. And they're literally just like looking around, like almost in, we saw Keanu Dawes, right? Dawes was just like, wow. And you and I were like, I bet he wishes he came to
Well, it's funny, yeah, because his uncle Derek played at BYU,
Exactly.
so Keanu's running around the rivalry. Yeah, like, so he had to understand, wow, this is pretty incredible. Like, but think of a guy like Terrence Brown. He played at Fairleigh Dickinson last year, FDU, and let's be honest, Fairleigh Dickinson, if they get more than 5,000 fans, probably they'd be floored. He's probably looking around like, this is absolutely awesome. But it's what the Big 12 brings. And to your point, Drake, original point, that's what BYU has added to this league, which is already having some pretty incredible basketball.
For sure. This is, I'm going to say it. When BYU first joined the Big 12, well, there's another really bad basketball team. And it's not that BYU was bad. It was just that Baylor and Kansas were so good.
Sure.
And oh no, here comes Arizona. Like you look around and you think the Big 12 is the class of basketball. I want to give a lot of credit to Tom Holmoe and Brian Santiago. I know Brian's a big basketball guy.
Yes.
They're clapping at tummies.
Come on.
Five years ago, 6 years ago, like there isn't this.
Yeah.
There isn't this. There's independence. And those two guys, the way that Holmoe led BYU, and then your coach that takes you to this great height of we're in the NCAA tournament as a very high seed in the Big 12. He goes to Kentucky, which has been pretty contentious, by the way. It's been fun to watch him lose. Come on.
We feel bad for him at this point.
He goes to Kentucky, which they are winning a couple games now, in weird fashion too. But he goes to Kentucky, and Brian Santiago, that's his first big bill of order is, all right, who's our basketball coach? Let's go get the #1 assistant in the NBA and build a roster that looks different than BYU's really ever seen. So I said it to you, Tosh, middle of the game. Take a BYU fan from 1988, give him 2 minutes. Just give him 2 minutes in that arena and just be like, what's going on? How did that guy just do that? Like, it is a different level that BYU has brought the athletic department in the Big 12 to compete in a basketball conference that's already been a gauntlet for Cincinnati, who was fine, and UCF. It's become a gauntlet for a lot of these new programs. Colorado, who was already playing at a Power 4 level in a really good league like the Pac-12, they have not survived, and BYU has. And I want to go to Ahmed, who comes in from the G League.
Yeah.
No, I kept making the joke. I kept making the joke. It kept being like, here comes the NBA guy. He was an all-star. He was league MVP in the NBA. Surely this will change the game. Because there's been such an overblown narrative around, BYU signed the NBA guy, didn't they? They must be. But this is a school that's attracting talent like that who look around and say, I didn't get this in the pro ranks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and by the way, I watched Dallin Hall play for Virginia today, and the announcers go, here's a nugget. 3 of the guys on the court right now all played in the G League version of Europe, and none of you are saying anything.
Yeah.
But when BYU brings the guy in or Baylor brings the guy in, it becomes a big problem. So I think it just says so much about BYU, their ability, Tom Holmoe, Brian Santiago, their ability to meet college basketball, college athletics where it is and say, hey, we're going to adapt or die. And in that situation, we're adapting. But still, look behind us. The church leadership sat behind us at the game. It's like, wow. There's this merging of decades of tradition, decades of what BYU is, with a guy who played in the G League on the court. But it's the beauty of what the Big 12 has brought with BYU being in this conference.
Yeah. Well, that's to your point, is that BYU proved that they belong at this level. That's the thing. I can remember, I've done this podcast, I've done Locked On Cougars for 7.5 years now. I started during the independent. I started during the West Coast Conference era, and I always thought, okay, give us a chance. Just give BYU a chance to show what they're capable of doing. Guess what? They've had that for 3 years. They've proved they can belong. Both football, basketball, they're doing it across the board, and that's a credit to what Tom Homo, Brian Santiago, all the coaches, all the players, they have been given that opportunity, Drake, and they finally showed that, yeah, we can hang on a national level.
All that too, like it illustrates the depth of the Big 12. This is a Big 12 podcast, right?
Sure, yeah.
We're talking about BYU as like this, obviously they're going to make it to the NCAA tournament. They're kind of an Elite 8 team or bust. I think a lot of BYU fans expect
AJ said the floor is the Sweet 16.
You've got a freshman scoring 43 points. He could very well be the player of the year in college basketball, and they are still being talked about as the third or fourth best team.
And fairly so. Very fairly.
Totally.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, you're going to see the number 1 team coming in on Monday night.
Yep. They can prove themselves then.
Yeah.
What's crazy is this room is as hot as the surface of the sun.
Well, you are wearing one of the most incredible coats I've ever seen.
Here's what happened.
What's the backstory?
I fly in, and as I'm pulling out of the driveway in Savannah, Georgia, I was like, okay, phone, keys, wallet. I've got everything on my equipment. Like, I'm ready to go.
But you forgot the coat.
I forgot a coat.
Okay.
So I get on the plane. And I was like, oh, I'll look at the weather. It's 31 degrees. That's the high, by the way. It's like 22 outside right now. So I was like, okay, where do I go from here? I call my guy, Carson Shipman at Thrift Hood. He's like, yo, we got exactly what you need. I've got a big, like, camo coat. I'll come drop it off to you. We'll get you a deal on it. Like, great. Awesome. Well, in the middle of that, me, the average consumer, was like, I should go on Facebook Marketplace and see what exists. And sure enough, this 2002 Salt Lake Olympic, what do we call these?
So this is the official coat
Is
that
there a
all
name
the
for
staff
this?
members wore during the Olympics.
It's his coat?
Yeah.
Ski coat?
coat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Ski coat.
Ski coat.
Make me feel a little bit better about it, please.
Yes.
So I go in and I buy this. I was like, okay, Facebook Marketplace this. Facebook Marketplace immediately says, this is a scam. Please do not proceed. And I was like, Facebook Marketplace probably doesn't know what it's talking about. I'm going to proceed. So I'm in Orem 45 minutes ago. I was like, hey, if you got that code, I'd love to check it out. Lady was like, okay, I'm in the trailer park. I was like, okay.
That's when you know it's a gym.
We're gonna go to the Orem trailer park.
It's a grail. You found a grail.
Listen,
man.
I'm from Arkansas. The trailer park rocks. Like we loved the trailer park. So I drove out there and she was like, hey, this is the code if you want it. And it's this 3-piece.
Yeah, you have all of the pieces that go with
There's
it.
a vest, there's the long sleeve, the whole thing's decked out. So it is 1,000,000 degrees in this thing. It's zipped up too. I could not be more red. But I have my Chubby's, can I say it? I'm gonna say it. Diet Pepsi. I did ask for Diet Coke. I just want to be very clear, P's and Q's here. I would have my Diet Pepsi to keep me cool. But I did. I needed to sport this tonight.
I love it.
Millions of compliments.
There are Pepsi machines. I don't think they have Coke here.
They don't have. Yeah, I asked for Diet Coke and was immediately told, "Is Pepsi okay?" It's like, oh yeah.
Because we love Chubbies, we love Pepsi.
We
Yes,
love
absolutely.
Pepsi and Chubbies.
Hey.
It's the only place I would go and excuse the lack of Diet Coke.
As a Dr. Pepper guy, this is my spot. Like, I'm just gonna say.
They have Diet Dr Pepper.
They have,
They got the whole thing
No
away.
one told me they had Diet Dr Pepper.
They got you, man.
Founded in Waco, 1884. Charles Alderton.
Hey, here's my question. We'll really test you. You ever had apple beer before?
Apple beer. Honor code violation.
No. We got to get you some apple
That's
beer,
when we
dude.
live large. When we're after a big game like this, it's go to the apple beer.
Beer, man. We got to get you one.
Is that like above board, underboard?
It's
How do
above
we?
board.
Wow.
You're good.
It's kind of like Martinelli's around Christmas time.
I sat in
People
front of
drink that.
Shane Reese today. I can call him
Yeah,
and
you're
let
not-
him
you're-
know
no, you're
there's
good.
serious issues.
No honor code violation.
All right,
at
apple
all.
beer. I'll check it out. Yeah, this has been the crowd here in Chubby's in Orem University Mall. We had people that walked in and were like, hey, we want to meet you guys. Come shake your hand, say thank you, love what you're doing.
Yeah.
But we've got to go. The line's too long. Like it's that kind of turnout here. Everybody give it up! Chubby's off!
Drake, I'll say this too. I knew that you were well loved among BYU fans. I didn't think you were this well recognized. We went to the game,
okay.
Oh,
and you literally, I think you went to like meet a friend or somebody that you knew were at halftime, and you got back 5 minutes into the second half, and you're like, I'm never going out on my own again, because you were stopped by so many people.
you probably can't walk 5 feet.
He's a man of the people, though. Everybody that talks to him, he'll comment back. He'll let him take a picture.
Yes.
Drake is a man of the people.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's like, so I'll go on this aside, then we'll talk Arizona coming up. For me, this is completely behind the curtain. When BYU played Utah in football, and I first figured out, okay, here are the logistics to go to the game, and I reached out to John McBride in his office, Todd Blickenstaff, their office. And they're like, yeah, come to the game. We'll send you somebody from security to walk around with you. I was like, huh, security. Okay, don't do that. I'm going to be fine. I was not fine. I was really, really not fine. I like 4 hours in and I was like, I can't keep doing this. Where's the bathroom? And then I go to the bathroom. Guy's like, hey, you're that guy from the podcast, huh? And I was like, I'm in the urinal. I'm in the urinal.
You can't talk at urinals.
It's like you can't speak at urinals. It's rule number one.
Man code.
But what's so crazy? And look, there are. I said this to you guys at the game. There are people that will comment from UCF or Cincinnati, West Virginia, who I value, and those schools mean a lot to the Big 12 Conference. Obviously, West Virginia is a staple program once they were added 15 years ago.
Shout out to MP.
And when some of these fans comment, they're like, "Oh, look, BYU again." Two things. Number one, they win. That's it, right? BYU wins at football.
Yes.
BYU wins at basketball. And again, peek behind the curtain, our whole philosophy of the company, play the hits. Talk about what is relevant right now.
Breaking news, by the way. That's how we go about things.
The second thing that makes it so easy is I turn on ESPN. I turn on Fox. I see a 12-win football team. I see a basketball team that's being dropped in the rankings for winning. Like I see a basketball team going toe-to-toe with one of the top teams in the country like Texas Tech, hosting the biggest game in America on Monday night. And nobody's talking about it. It's like they're still getting this treatment from and Texas Tech got this a bit, but they got to hey, let's fly in Jacob Rodriguez, come and talk about why are we flying in Jack Kelly? Why are we flying in Bear Bachmeier? Why are we having? Do you understand? There was a quarterback who left the program in June, and some kid who just got there led the team to a 12-win season as a freshman, and nobody wants to talk about that. So it becomes easy for me, and I'll tell you, and this is something that I wouldn't have said 6 months ago, but I have come to realize it. When we first got into, our audio is still good, right? When we first got in, there we go, we're back. When we first got into Locked On Big 12, when I was first hosting it, and BYU came into the conference, you realize, like, these fans watch, these fans care at a different level than some of the fan bases that we're used to in the league. Some of the even, it's, what have you done for me lately? If the team's not good, the fans aren't watching. BYU's different. These people are so communal, they're bought into it. And so, you lean into that as a host of a podcast. But then the day clicked for me, and I was like, shoot, man, it's not a pander. It's not a grift. No one's looking at these people. They're good at everything, and no one's talking about it. Why is no one talking about it? So that's the beauty of having now a national radio show, too, that's syndicated. Like, what's crazy? Here I go. I'm cooking. Come on.
Slap at the table. We're in. Let's go.
What's crazy is that they're chanting BYU in Chubby's Orem.
It's louder than it was at the game.
University Mall. It's like a perfect time for the a Ricola refill. So what's awesome about this is there's a radio station, Houston, Texas, that syndicates Westwood One every morning from 5 to 6 a.m.
Okay.
I get to go on national radio. Hundreds of thousands of people just in their car going to the gym, and they're like, who's this guy? And say, here's something you're missing. You're missing BYU. Another Diet Pepsi. Thank you. You're missing BYU. You're missing this storyline. To have a national voice now and to be able to carry the Big 12 with that, to be able to have a Big 12 angle, a BYU angle is incredibly cool. And so one more time, Chubby's Orem, University Mall, whatever they call this Chubby's location. It's proof of what BYU fans are and proof that BYU is a valuable member of the Big 12 Conference. That's my soapbox. That was a 20-minute segment. Would you like to get paid again?
Let's do it.
Let's get paid again. Locked On Big 12. And, oh my gosh, you think these people in Chubby's are excited to hear about this sponsor today?
Hey, come on now. This is a big sponsor, man.
It's TurboTax. I'm going to give them tax
Let's
season.
Go.
Yeah. They didn't get quite as loud for that one.
No, they did not.
But you should get loud.
Yes.
Because TurboTax makes tax season easy. Tax season doesn't have to take years off your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, Jake, they'll handle those W-2s.
As a guy who has somebody do his taxes, it absolutely takes years off your life. Best part about TurboTax, Doesn't matter what it is. Self-employed, W-2, 1099, across the board. They got it for you guys, and they'll take care of it right there for you guys in minutes.
No doubt. Great time saver, obviously. Limited time, you can get your taxes done by a local tax expert from TurboTax. Just $150 all in. If TurboTax Expert does not file your taxes for you last year, just file by February 28th. You got a little bit of leeway there. And take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointments today at TurboTax.
Are you reading those?
No, that was completely off of my brain.
He is.
You guys just like
I'm not reading them.
Jake's just like going off. Like
I've done these reads.
man, dude.
I don't want to admit how many.
Jake's like an original 7.
That's
original
insane.
7 with Locked On.
More people should sponsor with you guys. You guys are nailing this.
Do you hear that?
Hey,
More people should sponsor us. Yeah.
you heard that, right?
I like that. BYU Arizona Monday night. We'll be all on hand again for that one. This was an easy opportunity for me. Big thanks to the folks at Sundance.
Yes.
Said, hey, come hang out, come stay, go see a film on Sunday, and then go see BYU play Arizona on Monday. So I'll host that Westwood One show from Sundance and then be at the game on Monday night. Jake, if it's not the big three for BYU, in games like this, everybody's got a big three.
Oh, yes,
Sweet 16,
absolutely.
you got a big three. Final Four, you got a big three.
Yes.
Who's the next guy that has to be the guy?
Well, the guy that BYU needs it to be is Hadim Boop. The way he's starting to really emerge right now, I know that his box score today, you're going to look at it and say, okay, well, he didn't have that many points. The impact he makes is kind of what Richie Saunders was 3 years ago. Remember, he was that sixth man of the year. John Rosting would crow about, he just makes winning plays. Hadim Boop is becoming that for this BYU basketball team. And if he has the type of game I think he can have against an Arizona, especially going up against a guy, you have Koa Pete pulled up right there.
Koa Pete's good.
You got to be able to slow him down. Hadim Boop is very capable of that. He had an incredible defensive performance against Utah.
Yeah, we talked about it on our show last week. Hadim was, to me, a catalyst to their 16-2 run against Texas Tech. Kind of behind the scenes a little bit. We don't look at Hadim as this massive impact player, but defensively, that lineup, and he anchored that lineup alongside, Kennard Davis was great defensively as well. But it's interesting too. I don't think Kennard had as many minutes this game, and I have to go back and look. But
11 minutes. So Hadim Boop played 21. Kennard was dropped to 11 today. I think that was it was a calculated move. Yeah.
And I think you look at Kennard and the reason he was brought in was to be a 3-and-D guy.
Yes.
Right? I don't think he's as good defensively as Hadim. Hadim has been a lockdown defender, 1 through 4, potentially 5 if he's guarding JT Toppin.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
But I don't, offensively, Hadim is not there, but neither has Kennard Davis. He has not been there. And so if you're gonna have a guy that's only defensive and not offensive, I'd much rather have Hadim in.
So I think the question mark is who can come off the bench and score. And we have been trying all sorts of different people, and no one has stepped up yet. But
they gave a lot of guys a chance today. Mihailo Boskovic, Alexei Kostic, they all got chances in this game.
The two that I still have some hope on, Boskovic is one of them.
Yeah.
He always plays hard, and he's gotten a lot better, and he only shoots good shots, and he's been making them lately.
Yeah.
The other guy that I have been, where is he at? I was about to put up missing, people alerts.
Put him on the milk carton.
Exactly. Diamande.
Well, yeah, Dominique, yeah.
He got in today, and he does, similar to Boop, he does incredible on defense with effort. If he can be this year's mag, that's what we're looking for, is who can just hit the open shots. That's all we're needing. I have hope that Diamande, with his size and athleticism, if he could emerge, that I think we need one of those guys to be the guy that can come off the bench and score.
Well, you guys remember last year, BYU went to West Virginia, and they found themselves just kind of down and out. Kevin Young threw Mihailo Boskovic and Trey Stewart onto the court in that game, just saying, hey, this is a Hail Mary. Let's see what we got. What did they do? Put together a run. Those two alone. Kevin Young referenced Trey Stewart tonight in the postgame press conference. Says, I want to see somebody have their Trey Stewart moment. Put their hand up and say, play me. That's what he's looking for. So to your point, maybe it's Dominique Diamande. Maybe it is a Hadim Boop. Somebody has to emerge, and they're beginning the opportunity. Now they have to seize it.
And Arizona is going to be their toughest defensive test, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, Arizona,
top scoring team in the conference.
Yeah.
But Drake, who do you think is going to be the guy that BYU needs to take?
Who did I say tonight? Who did I tell you?
Keita.
I said Keita.
Well, Keita, absolutely. With his ability to clean up on the glass, he's got to be a force.
No doubt. And look, he's not the most. This is just the nicest way to put it in the world, right? He's not the most consistent player in the world.
No.
Like there's one night where Keita goes for 12 boards, 8 points. That night, that's the night BYU wins the Elite Eight, goes to the Final Four. There may be a night he goes for 3 boards, 4 points. That's not the night BYU goes to the Final Four, wins in the Elite Eight. Like, if you need to look at that fourth guy, Keita can be that guy. He's not going to bully a 7'1" kid named Milimitov Pravadov from Purdue. And those guys exist. I don't think Keita's going to bully
Purdue
that guy.
usually has a couple of them. But
Yes. And they all played 7 years of professional basketball in Europe. But nobody cared about that. Now they care about. So I think it's Keita stepping up and being that fourth player out of the starting five that you say, oh, we didn't expect him to be there, but the pick and roll was there. The savvy screening was there. That's what made the difference for BYU. No doubt. I think that's what it's going to be. We have 10 minutes left, which is subjective, by the way. We have as many minutes as we want, but our goal here for those that are live in Chubby's is to meet everybody who's here, shake hands, take pictures, sign autographs, do all of that for each of us. We want to make sure to honor those.
Shout out to this guy, though. Showing up with a
Utah. Oh, we got a Utah guy, huh? Yeah.
Dude,
wow.
Let's go. Bold decision.
Yep, there we go.
Just like everyone else. I'm just shouting about a good way.
Yep, there we go.
Kudos to come out.
Something, love your neighbor, something,
great.
whatever. It's Utah game day. Whatever. So let's do this. Next 10 minutes, let's open it up to questions. Okay. So we'll do it a pop show of hands. We'll get to 5. I'm gonna set it at 5 because this is about to get insane. We'll go 5 questions.
So if you got a question, raise your hand right now.
And okay, wow, bam, this guy right here in the AJ Dybantsa jersey, shocking. Yeah, you come to us. Jake puts his microphone in your face, and you have the biggest spotlighted moment of your entire life. Millions are watching at home.
Yeah, my name's Scott Williams. I live here in Provo.
Scott Williams, full legal name. Full legal name. Love it.
Okay, so my question, and I say this with full respect to every Coug because I love every member of this team. It seems like since Dawson Baker was injured, we've been wondering who is going to be the extra shooter who comes in for more points outside of the big three. And we've experimented with Bruce, and we've continued to go to Moo. Both are great players. But does it make sense at this point in the season to put Hadim Boop in at the 4 to start from here on out based on his production on the defensive end?
Is it Scott, right? Yeah, Scott's got a spot on Kevin Young's staff in like 6 months. Yeah, if you have whatever you're doing, it's like, Scott, thanks for your question. I don't know really know where you go now, but all right, fine. Thank you.
As a shooter, no. I mean, Hadim is not a shooter. Hadim is on the floor to defend. So to answer your question, like, I don't know where that offensive shooting production comes from. You mentioned Mihailo Boskovic. Tyler Morris was supposed to be that guy.
I said Bosco tonight. Should be that guy.
I think
Bosco's good for 2 to 3 big shots a night. Is that enough, though? That's the question.
Here's my take: is BYU fans, whenever we've won lately, we use shooters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where the game is going. I'm gonna give a controversial take. I think with our big three,
we don't need them.
They can put up 60+ points between the three of them pretty consistently.
They've done that, yeah.
We can put some defensive stoppers out there and still win a lot of games and play a different style of basketball. Yeah. So I think it's worth considering maybe just going crazy and not having at least 4 shooters out there, relying on those 3, putting defensive guys in the other 2, and seeing how that goes.
And the way Rob Wright's shooting the 3 right now, maybe you don't need another 3-point shooter because Rob's absolutely killing it from beyond the arc.
That's what I'm saying. I think we're so used to like a Dallin Hall last year, or this guy coming off, even like a Trey Stewart would come in and he would shoot the ball well off the bench, even if he was, 8 or 9 people down the lineup. I don't think this BYU team really needs another Dallin Hall.
Well, if you have AJ going for 43, you're
11 a game. You just don't need it. Like, if you can get, Drake and I talked about this. The big 3 are going to get 60 points a game, roughly 60 points a game. You need 20 points from someone else. It could be 10 from Keba. It can be 5 from Boskovic. It could be 5 from Tyler Morris or Alexei Kostic, somebody else, right? I think you can get 20 from everyone else as long as your big 3 gets 20, or 20 each, right? Your average is 60 among the 3. To me, that's how BYU is going to win games. I don't think we need to necessarily have a 6th man off the bench that's scoring 10, 15 points a game.
It'd be nice to have that, but to your point, maybe they don't need it. All right. Who's up next?
Oh, nice, Jake. Cut it off right there 2 minutes.
Next person.
Who's next? Hands. All right, wow. Guys.
I like this jersey, by the way. Oh, this is an active jersey. Jake's going to be happy about this.
That's a rock jersey. That's good.
Hello, my name is John Jensen. Love the show, you guys. I'm a journalism student at BYU. So
yeah,
you guys
J School.
If you ever need a co-host, let me know. But anyways,
trust us. Journalism majors get paid the most.
It's the best job in the world.
That's right. My question is, in basketball, how big do you guys perceive the gap is between BYU in the top cream of the crop in college basketball, and what do we need to do to get there to close that gap?
I'll take this one to start. I don't think we're going to completely find out Monday night. And the reason being is because when you play Arizona, the number one team in the country, in the Marriott Center with 20,000 streaming BYU fans, that is definitely different from when you play Arizona in St. Louis. Yeah. And surely there'll be 65% BYU fans during that game in Arizona, or in St. Louis, I should say. Problem is like you're buying the sessions, and well, session one was the game between Kansas and Duke, and so you have the rollover fans, the stadium's half full, and like March Madness is different. It's the games on Wednesday night in Boulder, Colorado that teach you the ins and outs, the intangibles of whether or not BYU can compete with the big dogs.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, this is a squad that is going to have to go to the McHale Center down there in Tucson later on this season. That's going to be a real test. They've already been to Texas Tech. They're going to Kansas a week from tonight. We got Kansas State up right now. These environments are going to test them. But to your point, Drake, when you go to a neutral court where you've got fans from 6, 7, maybe 8 different schools, based on how these regionals seem to go. Sorry, I didn't mean.
Did it again.
That was completely unintentional, though. But they're going to have to really prove themselves come March. This is just a proving ground to get to that point.
Here's where I'm at. BYU can play with anybody.
I agree.
I agree with that. Yeah. This season, anybody look like we don't belong with them. And we've got guys that can beat people one-on-one. We've got defenders that the other thing, last year when we lost to Alabama, I was at that game. And then right after I watched Duke play, and I saw these teams have more athletes and more length.
Yes.
There was a gap. I look at this year's squad. I wasn't the only one that noticed that because we brought in athletes and length.
No,
I mean, AJ is huge. We got Diamande is huge. We got guys coming off that are deep on the bench that are athletes and long. We can hang with anybody.
Well, and today they put a lineup on the court that Rob Wright was 6'1". Every other player was 6'9" or taller.
Rob Wright, the Baylor Bear?
The Baylor Bear, yes. Yeah, but they bring that.
Hey, you guys paid for that, by the way.
Yeah.
Happy to.
You guys,
Well worth.
every time he scores, it's like another $100,000 from one of you guys. Somebody paid for that.
But that's the point. Is they want to have a long, rangy team that is capable of defending anybody.
Yeah, I mean, Duke had a lot of depth last year, but Cooper Flagg was the guy that made that offense run. And BYU's got that this year. And so, like, we saw AJ tonight. If he can pull off a game like that in the Elite Eight, nobody's going to beat him, right? They can hang with any team in the country. It's a big if, right? He's a freshman. You have to rely on a guy that's, playing as a collegiate athlete for the first time.
But he embraces everything about that, though.
He thrived in it today. Yeah. And so if he can continue, like if he can have a game like that in the Elite Eight, in the Final Four, and throughout the entire NCAA tournament, they can hang with anybody.
All right.
Yep. All right, third question here.
Right here.
We got one right here.
Here we go.
All right, well, you can go to that one next.
Okay.
We got one. You, sir.
We're going to go you next.
Sorry. Hold on. Oh. Good. You're good.
I took over. Sorry.
You're good.
Hi, my name is Jonathan. I just first off wanted to thank you for doing this podcast about the SEC. Best conference for sure.
SEC.
It's a good bit.
That's a good bit. There's one thing I've learned from Locked On Big 12. It's that the SEC sucks. So my question is, right before Indiana won the national championship, Paul Feinbaum said it was a cute story that people would forget. How far does BYU have to go in order to not be a cute story? Do we have to win a national championship? Or, like, if it's Sweet 16, is that a cute story? How far do we have to go?
I'll start off on this one. AJ said it earlier this season, the floor for this team is the Sweet 16. BYU's best player set the groundwork for what this team has to accomplish. That's Sweet 16 bare minimum. BYU wants to get rid of the moniker. They have appeared in the most NCAA tournaments without a Final Four appearance. They want to have that monkey off their back. If they can get to the Final Four and do that, I think it's good enough.
It has to be sustained too. I think it's more than, even if they win the national championship this year, people are going to say, well, that's a cute story. It's a Cinderella run.
Like kind of like Indiana, because they have
exactly. Even Indiana, I think needs to. Now they've kind of sustained it off of last year, right? They were a national powerhouse last year, but BYU needs to continue. Now they went to the Sweet 16 last year, right? So they've already kind of started this run, but they have to sustain it. That's how the Blue Bloods became Blue Bloods. It's sustained success, and we all want a Final Four appearance this year. That'll be great. But to be considered a non-Cinderella or not a cute story, they have to sustain that success.
Well, and Paul Feinbaum's full of crap. Like Indiana is not a
that's where
cute
we should have
story.
started. Yeah, that's just not
Start
a
there. Yes, yeah, good point.
Indiana's not a cute story that people are going to forget. And BYU can also be someone that's here year after year after year. So we got to do it this year.
Yep.
And we got to reload. We're going to have good guys coming back. But Branch, if you're listening, like commit to BYU. Like we got to have.
That would be Bruce Branch, by the way.
We got to just reload. And I think we can. We have the staff. We have the fan base. And that's how all of a sudden you go from. That's how you become a blue blood. You got to earn it through consistency. And they did it. Why couldn't we?
Well, and this is a bit more dour on this. You've got to win a championship. Here's the reason.
Okay.
Texas Tech went to the Final Four in 2019. No one talks about, oh, that was cute when Texas Tech did that. You know why? Because they don't talk about it at all.
Good point.
You can do whatever you want, but you don't get etched into glory amongst the powers of college basketball or college football unless you win at the top level, unless you win the whole thing. So it's fun for Baylor fans, right? When I was at school, Baylor went to the Final Four, national championship, won the whole thing. If that run stops in the semifinal and you lose to Houston, internally, the fan base, greatest year ever, man. Love that Final Four run. Nationally, no one's like, remember that one time Texas Tech went to the Final Four?
Yeah.
They don't say that. They say, remember that one time that you saw the national champion BYU Cougs, the national champion Indiana Hoosiers. It's not, wow, Indiana looks so good in 2026. But they did lose in the semifinal. That's a different story. So I think what it's going to take is winning at the highest level, at the highest level, like championships, for sure.
All right.
Two more.
Next
Oh
up,
yeah, here we go.
You okay?
Yeah, I just fell. So, Sharice Fain, my question is actually regarding recruiting for next year. So we know we're going to be losing both AJ and Richie. They're both going into the NBA. What do we need to start doing now to prepare for the future so that we can have a team that is continually getting better every year so we can try to get into the Sweet 16 and the top 4 every single year? Because we've got to get credibility as a fan base, because I feel like I'm tired of feeling like BYU is a joke when we're not. And like, I'm ready to just throw it down. So let's figure this out.
Put an ankle monitor on Kevin Young and ensure that if anyone wants to ever talk to him ever from
On his wife.
Yeah, put an ankle monitor on his wife. Yes. Ensure that he is here to stay. Because there are, I'm going to go back to a point made earlier. When the Utah players are looking around like, well, on Wednesday, I'm going to go back to Salt Lake and we're going to play Oklahoma State. And surely the crowd's going to be good, right, guys? Like, they're human beings. They're thinking that, right?
Yeah.
They're looking at the BYU crowd thinking, it'd be kind of fun to play in front of, right? That's what you've got to keep. You've got an NBA head coach on your sideline, and as long as you have that, other players in the country are seeing the atmosphere, seeing the coach saying, I want that.
Well, that's what Kevin Young's able to do. He's able to call up Kevin Durant. He's able to call up Joel Embiid, Chris Paul. Say, hey, insert recruit name here. Would you like to talk to so-and-so and let him expound upon why you should play for me? That's what they did with AJ. You talk about Bruce Branch. Bruce is kind of the next AJ, and they're trying to get him here to Provo.
We're in his top 2.
Exactly. So the hope is that he sees what AJ's doing and said, yeah, I want that. And so Kevin can point to exactly what he's doing. He's put Jaeger Dielman now, by the way, which Kevin does like, what happened to Demon? Like he wasn't sure about it.
Great change. Love it.
He's killing it in the NBA. AJ's going to go do that. Richie's going to go do that. He just needs to start churning these guys. And so long as he does that, and to your point, Drake, keep him here in Provo, they're going to be a contender.
So fully agree. The other thing is you got to keep your studs. In today's world, everyone's a free agent every year. Yeah. And so one is, I think Boop can be a player we can build on in the future. I really do. He's going to get better and better. That guy is just oozing with athleticism.
Ball, man.
He doesn't even need to. He could be a Draymond Green if he can just get okay at shooting.
Yeah.
And then second is I hope Rob Wright has a tournament that like pushes him into the league, but there's also a good chance he's back on our squad.
Sure.
You have those guys, you pull in a few transfers, pull a couple high school players, and all of a sudden it's like, let's mix that up and put it on the court. And I like what we'll see.
I think too, it would be a little bit naive to not talk about money, right? There's going to be, there's NIL. If we can sustain NIL, and BYU, I think, has the foundation for NIL and rev share support. Just continue that. But I agree with Jake. Like the NBA pipeline, I think is important for NBA for players.
These players
to make it in the NBA.
want to go to the next level. You have to prove that this can be a launching point for that. Jaeger started it. AJ's going to continue it. And if he's the number 1 pick, great. If Richie's a first or second round pick, that shows that even developmental guys, to your point, Tosh, you spend some time here. You may not be the one and done, but you go 3 or 4 years, you can become a guy who can make it to the next level.
All right, last one. I'm going to pick my own here. You, my friend, in the pink hoodie.
He's asked a question.
All right, back up here. I got a guy right here in the BYU quarter zip. These guys have been loud all night. Student section over there, putting their U's down.
Rock represent. Okay, I'm Robert Carden.
Hello, Robert.
My question is, there's a lot of great players in college basketball right now. You got Darren Peterson and Cam Boozer. What separates AJ Dybantsa from the rest of his class here in terms of the 2026 NBA draft?
I've watched Keontae George as an example of some of the great freshmen that I've seen come through and watch play in person. I've been all across the country watching college basketball at a very high level for the last I'm not going to do it. Last 6 years. Only 6 years. Just don't. And he's the oldest 18-year-old, 19-year-old player that I've ever seen. Like you can't. It's hard. You're looking at a 24-year-old playing basketball out there. Yet still, you can see the areas in which, that's going to develop. That's going to go into an NBA organization. That's going to catch on. That's going to be there. AJ Dybantsa still has room to grow, still has potential, which is a wild word to use for him, but he looks 24, 25 years old.
I think AJ's
also, Darren Peterson never plays, by the way. So I would love to know if he's good, but he just never plays.
The best ability is the availability. But I would say this: Darren Peterson is a good scorer, right? I think that's what he's good at. AJ's so versatile, right? He can put up 43 points in a game and make all but 2 3-pointers, but he can also dunk on you. He can find his open teammates. He can rebound the ball. Like, he's so versatile, and that's what makes him a valuable NBA asset, because he's not just being called on to shoot the ball like a Darren Peterson or bully ball inside like a Cam Boozer. He can do it all.
He's been trained his entire life because he's always been the best player to make plays beyond just being. He could go out and ton his shot every time down the court if he really wanted to. The truth of the matter is, he could have gone for 50 tonight had he wanted to hunt for his shot. The nice part is he makes winning plays. Sean Farnham, I think was he on the Utah game when they were up in Salt Lake City? I think so. Sean Farnham said that, watch this, and he broke a double team, passed over Rob Wright, big three. He said those are the winning plays that AJ brings that nobody else brings to the court.
So this is a Big 12 podcast. So I will, and I mean this sincerely, the two best players are Peterson or Dybantsa. Those are the two that I think will translate to the NBA.
Here are the comps for those two: Kobe Bryant for Darren Peterson, Kevin Durant for AJ Dybantsa. All timers. Those are the comps for these guys.
And so you're splitting hairs. Either one of them could end up being the best in the NBA.
Yeah.
It's really that, if we're being truthful. But Drake already alluded to it. Peterson sits out all the time, and that is becoming a plague in the NBA. And if he's already doing that in college, it's worth considering. Second, AJ was sick last week, played in both games, turned it on to beat TCU for us. So the guy gets healthy this week, goes off for 43. Like, he plays when he can, even if he's not at his best. And if I'm an NBA team right now, that I value that a lot.
He has joy for the game. There's no doubt. He loves playing basketball. And there's a lot to be said for that in this day and age, especially when it comes to the NBA level.
My butt hurts. I have sweat 7 or 8.
You pitting out over there?
7 or 8 pounds off. One day, 7 or 8 will catch on. Trust me. And that's it. We have weeded out. Weeded. Where's the journalism kid from earlier? We've weeded out the weak. Those who are left here at Chubby's are those who truly wanted to stay, get to say hello to the cast crew. And that's the benefit of being here live in person. Love talking to the online audience, but the rest of this party continues for all those who decided to drive out and meet us here. Give it up for hundreds of people everywhere. So many of them. Their butts also hurt. They are also probably sweating.
They're
very
on wooden
good food.
benches too. We're on pads.
I know, exactly.
They're on wooden benches.
Some of them,
And we're going to go meet all of them. Everybody give it up one more time for our co-hosts on today's Locked On Big 12, Locked On Cougars. Jake Edmonds, Tosh McIntosh. Hey, Jake Hatch.
See you on the squad, buddy.
Hatch, first time, best time. This is awesome. We'll do it again at some point from the thing that we do.
Talk to you next week.
Yeah, you and I will see each other next week. Guys, thanks so much for this. For everybody who's here, it could not have been better for just proof of concept. This was a text a couple of months ago of, hey, could we possibly maybe make this happen? And then the flu tried to kill me on Monday, but I'm back, I'm alive, and we did. And so without a hitch, guys, any final thoughts?
Hey, honestly, big ups to everybody who showed up tonight. This is absolutely awesome. Drake's right. We got hundreds of people watching this live right now. I don't know what the number ended up being, Drake. I know we're over
hundreds for sure.
But to have hundreds of you guys here, my wife asked me, how many people are actually going to show up to this thing? I'm like, I have no idea, but I hope a lot.
At least 4.
So thank you, truthfully, to all of you for showing up.
Big game against Arizona.
Let's do it.
Yes.
And then Sean Hammond running the board over there, too. He was spectacular, integral to the entire Chubby's crew that made sure that we were all here and set up and ready to go as well. This was a smashing hit. This has been,
And always will be.
always will be. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Locked on. 3, 2, 1.
Dose Grande.
See you guys. That's great.